Let's get this show going, man.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, a Washington Commanders podcast for fans by fans, with your hosts, Jesse Martin.
Because 90% of them are wrong. They're fucking wrong.
Max Taman.
You've got a plate of shit and you've got a bowl of shit. They're the same thing.
Scott Hartley.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
John Taman.
What the hell was I talking about?
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
And now, the world's worst podcast host, John Taman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. I must say, as the world's worst podcast well, there you go. That's
Exactly.
pretty much it right there. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over. We've had a draft this weekend. We've had all kinds of exciting stuff to talk about. Wisconsin was able to support Scouse's head the entire weekend without having any kind of construction done or anything like that. That's ingenuity. I'm going to throw it here to my friend from Southeast Virginia, somewhere over that way. There you go. Jesse Martin. How you doing? There he is. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He is the man. He is the Pulitzer Prize nominated author. Oh, it's playing again. My goodness. There we go. Well, nice to see you, Jesse.
I forgot to put that up there.
I gotta turn the well, this is why I'm the world's worst podcast host, and that's why you tune in. Speaking of tuning in, I don't know if you realize this, but Yam, our good friend Yam, has us on the big TV.
The big one.
The big TV for Yam. This is for
Make
you.
sure I check my nose.
This is for Yam. I don't even know if you can see there. You're not, but there you go, Yam. If you ever wanted to know what a colonoscopy with me looks like, you can just imagine a little bit. So, Jesse, how'd you like the draft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the draft. It's a little bit different than the drafts that we've had in the past 20 years, it seems like, because it was the fact that, we didn't have
still
to
didn't teach Scott how to use a microphone while he was there, but
yeah, we didn't have to. We weren't searching for that quarterback, and
right.
We were picking way late in the first round, so it felt a little different this year. If people know what I'm talking about,
It did, and it felt a lot different to our perpetual special guest, our special guest, Scott Hartley. My friend, you look a little jet lagged.
Evening, gentlemen. No, I'm not jet lagged yet, but it's been pretty brutal getting back. I got back yesterday at about midday. And then I was out doing yard work today. So I got it all sorted. So
you look
right
a little
back
cherry
in the draft and into the fucking yard work. Way to go!
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Straight in.
Aaron, he mentioned you on
gardens,
television.
I did, yeah. So
You did.
You look a little cherry-fied today. Was it sunny outside?
It's been very warm, 22 degrees C. So yeah, it's been pretty good today. So pretty decent.
You look like you got some sun there, buddy. It looks like you got some sun.
You may as well have just looked at me and said, "John, the temperature is what?" Because I don't fucking know. I'm 22.
I'll find out.
Oh, it's quite all right. I'm not really that interested in how hot it is out there. I'm sure that you were tucking out.
72.
Now, what was the temperature while you were in Wisconsin? Because you looked pretty well, like 50s, 60s.
Oh, dire.
Dire.
Very, very. Yeah. It was all right. The final day was very good. But it was quite warm in places. It was okay. Like, it was okay. It's like 35 the first night, and then the Friday night, my God, it was freezing.
So
absolutely freezing cold.
35 is so you still talking Celsius there? Because
no,
35
Fahrenheit,
sounds like
Fahrenheit. Then,
if you're looking like that after 22, 35 must feel like the surface of the sun for you.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it was wild. I've lost all of the studio here by the looks of it. I can't see either of you guys, so I'm gonna dip back in. I'll be 2 seconds.
Oh, see, this is right when we were about ready to wish him happy birthday and give him a big cake and everything, and we had a naked girl coming in for him, and he's going to miss the whole damn thing. Are you back now?
No.
Scott's internet is jet lagged.
Honestly, my internet's terrible again.
This is what happens when the king comes to your goddamn town and renames it. They jack up the rates, and normal citizens like Scotty can't afford it. All right, so Scotty will be right back, and he'll tell us all about his experiences at the draft, which gives us, I think, a rather unique perspective, other than, of course, the 1 Point Safety Show, of which he is the host with Scouse. Now, I did like that Scouse tagged along. Oh, wait, there he is.
I'm there.
Scouse tagged along, and I had such a ball all weekend texting with Scouse during the draft. I had so much fun with Scouse over the weekend. It was funnier than hell. So
that was one real problem, was trying to get signal. Obviously, I mean, every single person who was at the draft would have been on, like, trying to do something, and you just could not get signal for anything. So I'm like, how much did Jacksonville give up for that? And it took about half an hour for your message even to come through. It was ridiculous, to try and get signal. But apart from that, it was a great weekend. I met loads of really good people. Had a wonderful time with all of the Commanders fans who were there from the inner circle. Some really good bits, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little while. But they had to put our pick on, obviously, an interview in the booth and the radio, and it was on an advert for the other one, or a Sean McVay interview, for the other one. So I was like, brilliant.
Right. Scotty made a pick. For all of you that don't know, Scott made our 5th round pick, our 6th round pick, right? Or no?
Yes, I did. Yeah, Kane Madrano, 6th round, 205. Yeah, he
made the pick. However, ESPN was talking to Sean McVay, of which I thought they could have bumped him. I mean,
they should have bumped him.
The dude hasn't won a Super Bowl in a couple of years. We're talking about Scott Hartley here.
Yeah.
International Fan of the goddamn year. Which, by the way, I have to ask, all of you got International Fan of the Year 24 jerseys.
We did, yeah. And what was funny was one lady did walk round and said, "Can I just ask, who is this Ofty guy? Because he seems to play for every team." I was like, no, love. Oh, God.
Did nobody ask, okay, how come these are last year's jerseys? This is 2025.
Well, the vote took place. It's league year 2024.
League year, yeah. So what they got.
Well, that's not confusing at all. It's the
so we'll walk around with the jerseys on. Some had International Fan of the Year written on it. Some had INTL Fan of the Year, but the majority of them is abbreviated. So mine is abbreviated to IFOYT.
They must have ran
like, so it's a bit like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Ifodi, yeah.
Ifodi.
But they were really nice. And funnily enough, it was we worked it out. Every single one of the UK people who had a pick, all of our picks weren't adverts or weren't live. And we wondered why. And we were like, why is that? And it is purely and simply because the markets for the NFL, they seem to think they've cracked it over here, over this side of the pond. And then next year you have Australia, and all of the Australians got their picks. You had obviously the Spanish people who, because they're going to Madrid, they got their picks. And then the guy who's from Ireland who did the Steelers, and with the Steelers being in Ireland next year, a lot of content on him obviously as well. So I mean, and nice, fair enough. It is what it is, but it's could clearly see that that's how they are marketing it. So it's like, okay, I understand.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think they wanted a piece of the 1 Point Safety Show and the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Is why they asked.
And we did get a shout out as well for them. So it's interesting. So I do have in my possession here Kane Madrano's pick card. So
there you go.
It will be, and it's one of them. We had a backstage tour of the actual draft room, so where all the picks come in, and they're talking about like
green room.
Yeah, we had the green room as well. So that is Washington's card. It is a blank card, but you weren't allowed to take them. But I kind of just
you just took one, you fucking hooligan.
Yes. So I just went, oh, there's Washington. Can I have one of these? And he kind of looked at me as if to say, no, you can't. And I just went, well, I'm taking one anyway.
There's 7 of them. We've only got 5 picks. Fuck it.
And you could see in the they're a brown box that they like a cardboard box they're obviously sending to the league. So the official card is one of these. And it had round ones in from the night before, so you could pick it out and read who the round one picks were. So I've seen Josh Connolly Jr.'s as well. Now, because I've been not treated badly, and that's not this is not a slight on the team or the NFL at all, but a lot of other international fans of the year had quite a lot of stuff, and obviously I was flying to Green Bay without an itinerary, without anything really, or even knowing what the hell was going on.
Right.
And obviously I had to email my own hotel and say, look, have you got a room? And they were like, yes, we have. So okay, well, at least I know I've got something. Right. The lady who works for the Commanders, shout out to her, Lee. She was absolutely amazing. Couldn't have done more for me. But obviously, you're a bit blind, leading the blind onto the first day. So when we had a Q&A with the commissioner, I was quite disappointed with it, to be honest with you, because people were talking nonsense. I had 2 clear questions that I really wanted answered that we'd obviously discussed about before on the pod.
Nonsense?
And then people are asking him like nonsense questions like, are the Detroit Lions coming to Munich? He's not going to tell you. Or, what's your favorite sausage? Yeah.
Oh, geez.
How many players in the league have fillings in their teeth?
And it's like, what really? And yet I'm sitting there saying, look, are you, what's happening with an 18-game season? All that sort of. I wanted proper questions. Yeah, and we didn't really get much chance to do that. It was great to meet Roger Goodell. You know what I mean? Scouse did say, are you happy that Dan's gone now? And he just looked and said, no comment, with a big grin on his face. So clearly, yeah. So there was that, but I think the overall memory that was amazing for me was Lee came and saw me and said, look, a couple of picks before 29, probably like 27, someone from the NFL will come and grab you. You'll go backstage. They put the they put the jersey on the press, and if we pick someone who is in the green room, then you get to press the jersey, take the jersey out to the commissioner, and the commissioner will give it to the player. So I was like, right, okay. And when I got in there, the Ravens guy had just left. The Detroit Lions guy was just in front of me. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. So obviously I got to put the shirts on, and I was waiting for the call through. And the delay time is 4 seconds from the team putting the phone down to going into this guy's earpiece. And then he tells you, right, this is who the pick is. So I knew straight away Josh Connolly Jr. So I was like, brilliant. But I couldn't leave and obviously go back to where the fans are, because if I tell them and the commissioner hasn't, said anything, then that's how it works. Now, I knew that 7 minutes was left on the clock. Now, I know that obviously it's all planned, shall we say, and they first round, they always roll it a little bit longer. Now, they didn't actually stop the clock and say the pick is in until 1 minute 32.
They always do that.
So for that amount of time, and then the 4 minutes afterwards until the commissioner gets on stage, even though I was just sat in this room, he was like, you do realize you are the only fan who knows that we've picked Josh Connolly Jr. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah, I am. So, like, you're thinking, actually, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm the only person in the world who knows this. Because then he's like, right, now we'll feed it to the rest of them. Boom. So they give about 20 seconds. It's like as the commissioner's walking out on stage, there's a lady who presses the button, which then that feed goes to like Ian Rappaport and all them.
Right. So well, I was looking for you because Scouse told me that you were, because I got video. He sent me video of you going up on the stage, right, heading for it. Well, no, that was for the second. That was for the third day. I'm talking about the first pick. He told me that this was what was going on, that you had already gone backstage. That you were ready to come out, and this is what you were going to do. So I started watching the other picks to see if I could see the guy that gave over the jersey, and I couldn't never see him. So don't feel bad that it wasn't on TV.
No, it was weird because when you got there, it was like, right, who's left? And it was like Jalen Milroe. I was like, well, that's not going to happen. Hairston, who went to the Bills. Yeah, I was like, probably not going to take him.
You could have gone back and high-fived him. He high-fived everybly.
Definitely on the list.
He did. High-fived me just walked past.
He did? He high-fived me too, I think. He came by my house.
There was a guy in a green suit. I'm not sure who that was. I think it might have been Malachi Starks, I think.
The big green suit? Big freaking
it was like a
chain on his neck. That was Sidor. What's his name? The pass rusher.
No.
In love with.
Shamir
Stewart. And then somebody, and then there was, and then he had like Hairston had like a silver suit on, I think. And I was
I'll
like
tell you
walking
this.
through that Lowe's bit, and he just dabbed me up, and I was like, "Oh, hi, you all right?" That's like, nice. That's pretty cool. But
Gotta
yeah,
get
it was
you one of those big
it was
chains.
ace, man. It was
What are you
it was ace. I do need one of them iced out chains, John.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I don't care what. I'd like a tiger on it or something. That'd be cool. I think so.
But it
Yeah,
was
you iced up, Scotty. That's the look for you, man.
it was
Say-
wild. It was
Say
wild.
hey
And
to
then-
James and Yam and Deluxe and Valiance and everybody in the chat.
Oh, hey, man.
We see a lot of people are watching right now. Why don't you go to YouTube, join the chat, and
I'll
shoot
talk to you.
the shit with us.
Right, and I'm going to show the first pick right now, so nobody sue us. This
Go
is
on.
our friend.
With the 29th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Josh Carnerly Jr., tackle, Oregon. Do we like him? We do. We like him. Yeah. Josh Carnerly Jr., tackle, Oregon. Do we like him? We do. We like him.
Oh dear, you did him dirty there.
I
Well, that
did
guy-
not.
The guy who was next to him with the hat on there was seat fillers, so they randomly had seat fillers. I don't know if they're fans or if they're not fans, but the minute you leave,
Oh, wait.
obviously from a TV perspective, they're like, "Oh, we'll put someone in there." And obviously, because I was backstage at that point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
they
Which guy?
filled my seat. Guy with the hat on,
Oh, that's not it.
not him. I love Scouse. He is fucking hell.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I got to thank him. Scouts and I had a ball because I kept telling him. I told him. I said, when the first pick comes around, they come over the camera. Just look at the camera and yell, "Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper!"
I do have a story though, and he was dead proud of me actually, and so was Joe, Hog Farmer Joe. He was wetting himself. So Hog Farmer Joe was laughing that much that he spilt his beer. Basically, what happened was the Cowboys did their pick, and it was the guard Booker, and they had no idea who he was. Right, clearly, they had no clue.
Siren Head had no idea what that
Yeah,
massive
no,
cranium of his.
that's what I'm getting to. And then before that, every other pick, there's like one camera and there's maybe a roving camera that rolls around, and you're like, okay, enforced fun, let's go, yay, doing all that stuff. And then the Cowboys obviously turned up, and there was 5 cameras, and I was like, oh my god, okay. So they were laying these cameras down, and they basically put us all, because we were next to the Cowboys, all in one row, and it was really cramped and horrible. And Canhead man, Siren Man, he threw his phone at me, right, and said, "It's on record," and it bounced off my shoulder, so I just picked his phone up and just booted it. I just kicked it. It just went flying down the aisle. Bing bong, bing bong.
I didn't
Straight
fucking
up-
come here and look at your goddamn
Yeah.
head and take video for you.
Straight
Oh,
down there.
hell.
I was like, and then he just looked at me and went, "You haven't just done that." And I went, "Yeah, you could have asked." And then so when you see their pick,
have asked.
all you see is his face going.
I'm gonna have to go back and get the video.
Honestly,
that.
I literally just booted his phone, boom, off you go. And it went down it went about, I don't know, 30, 40 feet further down the road. See you later.
I swear to God, I told Scouts, try to see if they'll let Scott wear the helmet. Let's see if they'll let Scott wear the big hat, with all the fucking sirens on it. But now I see that there's no way he would have done that because honestly, it seems like when you get in public, Scott, you're a bit of a dick. What the fuck's the matter?
I can be. But no, they were all right. Honestly, they were good. They were very good people. A lot of them.
Good
And
people.
It was
Fuck his phone.
It was
right?
not Detroit, not the Dallas lot, but it is what it is. We were right next, and it was all in division order. So we had the Eagles like to our right hand side, Dallas behind us, and then the Giants were behind the Eagles. It was all right. It was good fun. But yeah, and I did like day 3 was pretty awesome. We had but what they call the moment for us. So we were all on stage at the beginning. And I got stuck behind a tuba, so that's awesome.
I was looking for you. I was like, where the hell
was
is
right
that?
on it. But what they did was they called everybody up individually in team order. So it was like Arizona first. So clearly Washington's going to be last. And it was like, right, okay. So I was dead at the end. And then the guy in front of me is a Tennessee Titans fan. He was about 6'2". And I was just stuck on the end of the stage and you couldn't see me at all. And then by the time it was like, oh, yeah, this is happening. And Goodell's done his little speech, which was about a minute. Right. And then this lady's just going, right, off you go, pulling me off stage. I was like, oh, all right, is that it then? Cheers. But what they did do, which is quite cool, and I'm trying to get the video of it, is each one of us had what they call the draft moment. So all the other international fans and the NFL production crew and the marching band waiting up the line, where you saw all the teams' photos, all the wooden carvings.
Yeah, they were nice.
And you got to individually walk up the line, and then you touch your teams like the draft picks were doing. And then when you got to the top where they had the man in the mirror moment, they call it, where you adjust your hat. So we had all that where we had our hat adjusted, and then you go onto stage. And it was pretty cool. Like, so because I was last, that was really good because everybody else was already there. Yeah. So it's like a massive, like you getting clapped up, like dapped up and clapped up. It was amazing.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get the video for that, but
I think that they might have given you extra treatment because the first picture that you tweeted out, I sent to the NFL and I said, look, please take care of our special friend. Because he's come a long way. That was the first trip away from home without his handlers. And Scouse back there really looks like he's dancing. I love that little shot of Scouse back there. He does look like
it was good. So you got the Giants, the Eagles, the Jets, the Bears lady on there as well. It was good. It was good crack that. They were good people. And yeah, it was that was just before meeting Roger Goodell. But yeah, just weird. Like don't ask stupid questions. We want to hear what he's actually got to say, not what sausages do you like? Unbelievable. But it was a good 3 days, a long 3 days, John. Loads and loads of walking. And the way they organised it was just a bit rubbish. It was like, oh yeah, you've got to be at the draft theatre for 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, okay, and the next thing isn't till 2.
Right.
And it's like, well, what do I do for the 4.5 hours we've got in between?
If you'd have done your homework, what you do is you elbow one of those kids off its bicycle and you take it and you ride it around a little bit because they're all over.
And then I got on, because it was raining on Friday, I got on Pat McAfee as well. I looked like a homeless person.
Yeah, you did. I saw that picture. I'm like, peeper. He's a fucking peeper.
I had no idea. I didn't even know he was on. And I just walked past. And like, as I walked past, I went, that's Pat McAfee. And then I was like, oh. And then I looked down as a camera and it was on. I was like, oh, shit, the camera's on. And then LJ was quite funny. I said, I look like I'm a homeless person. And she's like, well, I've got a turkey sandwich in the hotel. And I was like, I don't know if I need a meal or I need my next fix. It was just bizarre. But
checking in from the big TV.
Who are the worst fans?
Worst fans? From an international point of view or from an actual fan?
Just from the people that you were hanging out with all day.
The Tennessee Titans guy was a complete and utter moron.
That's not surprising. They inbreed a lot down there.
But he's from Australia.
And they inbreed a lot down there too, from what I heard.
To be honest, by the time he was just complaining about everything. Really? He's a serial complainer, and he had a lot more than every other fan, to the point where Tennessee Titans had took him out to a distillery. They got him a personalized like bottle of whiskey with the Titans logo on and stuff, which was, quite expensive. It wasn't something that was like, cheap. When he turned up to the facility, and the stadium had his face and like welcome, all over the jumbotron, and you're like, this is pretty cool. Full tour of the stadium, of the facilities, meeting coaches, players, all that sort of stuff, and then. He was complaining because one of the Detroit Lions fan from their rep gave him like a towel or something. It wasn't like anything major. It was just like, a Lions towel. And he was like, where's ours? And I was like, really?
Jesus.
You're going to, it was ridiculous. And then in the end, the guy was the Philly International Fan of the Year. His missus said, I've had enough of this. And she was like an Aussie as well. And she just ripped him, like literally ripped into him, and was like, giving him, and everyone else was just like, and he was, and then in the end, we did that.
This is
moment
how world
thing.
wars get started. You know?
Yeah, we did that thing in the end, that moment thing, and then he would come off and he went, "Well, as soon as I've done my pick, I'm going to the casino." And I was like, "All right." And sure enough, he did. He did an early pick in the 3rd round, and then that was him gone. So he was gone before midday on the final day. And I was like, where are you going? And then, funnily enough, they came back like the NFL to say, "Oh, is there any Titans fans here? You know, where's the Titans fans gone? Because we're going to get them up again to do another pick." And they're gone. Mm. And so they ended up having to go into the crowd and pull a random Titans fan out of the crowd and say, "Would you like to do a pick?"
They did have some of the Brits,
no joke,
on television. The woman that was the Browns representative,
the Browns lady,
that you told me was so good, that did all the legwork and then found you had a lot of information.
Yeah,
she was American. She's as American as I am. I'm like,
she is from Ohio originally, but she's lived in the UK for 25 years.
They went to Ireland to talk to somebody. That's not the Irish guy that was there on the stage for the Steelers. They went to Ireland to talk to somebody, and he was American. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Did they just go around looking for tourists?
It was
except
good,
for this
though,
guy.
Yeah,
look at this guy. I had some fun with this. This will be my first.
Let's have a look.
Fun. All right, this is the Spanish guy that did the Dolphins pick, and now I'm an asshole for this. But fucking hey, listen.
Hi, I'm Hugo, live from Madrid, where the Dolphins will play the first ever NFL game in Spain this season at Santiago Bernabeu Stadium.
Okay, now that's not so funny on its own, but I couldn't stop watching the Dolphins, so.
Hi, I'm Hugo, live from Madrid, where the Dolphins will play the first ever NFL game in Spain this season at Santiago Bernabeu Stadium.
And it just looked to me like he was talking. So I did have some fun watching television this weekend. You want to see some fun stuff I saw on television? Look at this weird woman. The Colts were making a pick. I don't know who this lady is. Please don't get mad at me.
Those are 2 Jersey-born players.
She just wouldn't stop staring at the camera.
She's had about as much sleep as I have in the last 5 days.
Looks like she got an Ursay stash.
Let's see here. How about
What the hell is going on out there? Or a seal here, a seal there. And what the hell is going on with that guy on the right? I don't know what's happening there. I mean, there's the gimp. Is that the Chargers gimp? I don't know.
Now, Rich Eisen made some jokes that were just up to the line this week. I thought that Rich Eisen's like listening to our show, making the same kind of 13-year-old humor that we make, like
He's
this.
Got a flag. He's got a pick.
What up, though?
Definitely.
All right, so the Germans don't understand the letter G. I expect.
No, his English is actually very good.
Sounded like it.
He's got a flag. He's got a pick.
What up, though?
Definitely from Detroit.
Where are all my Lions fans?
Detroit, Germany.
Okay. Now I want to hear all the Packers owners.
He said Packers, right?
Well,
Oh, you see, you missed it because he said his joke was, "Oh, I want to hear the Packers owners," and he said, "Well, I didn't hear Jared Goff speak."
Yeah, I know. I heard the joke, but I thought that it was funny that he called them all peckers. You know, like Rich Eisen picked up on the 12-year-old joke. Now, I had fun watching television, like I said, because you could look for our friends on TV, and you know that's always fun. So here, let's see if you can play. Let's spot Scouse at the draft.
Joel, now back to the stage.
Now, did you see him? It was quick.
Joel, now back to the stage.
There you go.
That was like
Scouse did send me a picture of you guys with the commissioner, and I don't have it with me. I wish I did, but I took Photoshop and I did some tech checking. And I'm sorry, Scouse. He knows I love him, and I hope he does because he wants to punch me all the damn time, which is nothing unusual. Most people that know me want to punch me often, but your head is 1.5 Goodells.
Wow.
So there's our official size, 1.5 Goodell's.
Size guide.
That's right. So size matters. All right. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Scott, before we get back to your story, did you guys all this Shador Sanders nonsense?
Oh my word.
In the crowd, what was that? How was that?
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It was
People
like
were-
where's he going? What's he doing? And then even the oohs and ahs when he didn't get picked. So I can't remember the QB's name who went to the Browns in the third round. When he went, it was like, oh my God, like, where is he actually going? He's going to go to the third day. And it was like, wow. And then New Orleans picked up a QB, like, okay, this is happening now. It wasn't Ewers, was it, that went to there? I don't know. Can't remember his name anyway. But yeah, we did pick up on that. Gabriel, thank you. That's who it was. And then it was like I was speaking to the Browns fan afterwards, Kelly, and she was saying, look, I've got no idea what they're doing. They've got 5 QBs in that room now. I was like, yep,
I know.
that is
How do you evaluate?
Not good.
I mean, all right, so you got the veteran backup in Flacco, right?
Mhm.
You know that. He can pull out anything. You've
Kenny Smallhands.
Deshaun Watson. What the hell? You've got 2 rookies, and
Kenny
you signed
Smallhands.
Kenny Pickett. And yeah, it's Kenny double jointed thumb. So how are you going to evaluate? You don't have but 3 preseason games.
I have a feeling Pickett's going to get cut. And Flacco
He gave him money.
It's going to be Flacco, Gabriel, and Shador.
They've got Pickett on a 2-year deal.
What's Watson's dead
Yeah,
cap
but
now?
it's probably very, very easily to get. Watson is going to be a NFI or a he's not even going to show up. It's not going to happen.
They're going to just tell him to stay at home, take your money, see you later.
I think they got incredible value, especially with the trade to the Jags. I thought the Jags got screwed in that.
Yeah.
I would not have traded as much as they did to go up, a few spots for a non-quarterback. So, Karen, if you're watching, you got a great player, but y'all gave up way too fucking much to get him.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I don't think the Browns had a pretty good draft overall.
I thought they did.
Yeah, so if they can get some common sense and the coaching department and the general management department, they could be well on their way to build something. Now,
We've said this how many times over the last 20 years, though?
Shador, getting him in the 5th round. I mean, I thought he was going to be
huge deal.
I thought he was going to be a 2nd round pick.
Well, the difference between the two is huge in the fact that they have brackets. So the NFL will tell you, and they were telling us when we were on the tour, the brackets between like where you'll get picked in the 1st round to where you get picked in the 5th, the 6th, whatever it is. This is how much salary cap money you need. It's obviously an estimate. And the teams will know that ahead of time. And we had a look and worked it out. And the difference between anything from 145 to 150 from the, say, 4th to 5th, which is where he's projected, it was 40 million for the 5th overall pick. And it was, what was it for 150? Oh, it was like something like 400,000. It's a 10th. It's a 10th of what he's projected to get.
The thing for Sanders, for me, that I really thought was good was the reaction of his after he got picked. He didn't look like a petulant kid that didn't get his way. He didn't look like he felt disappointed. He looked elated, like his dream was actually to just be in the NFL, to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. So he's got an opportunity, and he should come to camp, mini camp. He should come in there ready to compete and show that there's no circus and all that sort of thing.
Oh, and then he went out
with a huge deal.
He went out then, John, and spent $100,000 throwing money around with a big iced out chain and was live on Twitch to 10 million people.
But much for that. So what did you think about the big controversy? The prank phone call?
Matt, unbelievable. Jesse, you go. Sorry, mate.
It was a immature, stupid fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't think we should get fined over it. People were calling for, but I think Ulrich or Ulbrich or whatever his name is, to be the wasn't he a defensive coordinator for the Bears last year or something like that?
Yeah, he's at the Falcons now, isn't he?
Yeah.
No,
The Falcons
he
DC.
shouldn't have left his fucking shit open. So he should have a stern talking to. So,
At
but
least.
I think it's more or less dumb ass. I mean, I'm talking dumbass, immature kids doing the dumbass, immature things.
Right. Now, I mean, if it was to me, the main concern, if the NFL is going to investigate anything, is to investigate the leak. And if it's somebody that's that's a coach that you are definitely going to say, I don't want him on my squad if he's going to be doing stuff like that. However, this looks like an unprotected thing, which also could lead to problems for him. But as far as people, I mean, really, man, people just want to hang people and just kill everything, ruin everything. It was a stupid fucking prank by a bunch of 20-year-old kids. As if anybody ever did anything stupid when they were 20. And it happened to our guy too. Connerly said he got pranked too, but it wasn't nearly as good.
The bit that's not been I didn't realize that either, but the bit that's not been talked about also is Tyler Warren got a prank call as well.
Yeah. It should happen.
So clearly they've done it
multiple
with a
prank
few of
calls.
them.
When O.J. Simpson was in his house holding the cops at bay, somebody called up fucking ABC News and pretended that they were out in front of the place.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he started yelling Howard Stern, Baba Booey, Baba Booey, Baba Booey, and then they got rid of him. So I mean, shit happens. Here, I'll tell you what. Let's do some shit.
Hold on, I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick. My throat's dry.
I have. All right, this show used to have a gentleman on by the name of Keith Gray. I'm sure everybody remembers Keith, right? Let's prank call Keith. What do you say? You want to prank call Keith?
Why not?
I say let's do it. Let's see how cruel and awful this is. Let's wreck Keith's night. Former international superstar. All right, so here we go. I hope that you all can hear this. I'm going to try to put it down so that the speaker will be able to be heard. And let's try it here. All right. I'm not sure how this is going to work.
Ooh.
Let's see here.
Man.
This is Keith speaking.
Hello, is this Keith Gray?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Gray. My name is Howie Roseman. I work for the Philadelphia Eagles. Perhaps you've heard of me? Yes. Yeah. I tell you what, it says my name on the credit card, so of course it's me. Hey, listen. I tell you, yeah, it's good to hear these kinds of things. Most fans throw beer cans at me, but I'm glad to hear some of you really appreciate what's going on. Listen, I know that I've seen you on television. I like the way you handle yourself in front of the media. It's just that you wear the wrong colors. I'm going to make you an offer to come here to Philadelphia and head up our new fan ambassador division. We'll pay you twice whatever the Commanders were paying you at the time. What do you think of that? Yes, I'm fucking kidding you. You fucking loser.
All right. So send me a link real quick and let's see if he'll come in. All right, that was fun. We can,
It was.
We'll see if he figured this out. Jesse, send him a link. See if he knows what to do. Of course, he figured it.
Is that us, John?
All right, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so if you ever really wanted to know which podcast among the Washington Commanders podcasts we're the biggest assholes, it's us. So there you go. That's why we do things.
Joel, now back to the stage.
I thought it might be a little harder to spot him, but it turned out to be pretty easy.
One thing that is weird is when you're on the stage and you look out, you literally cannot see anything. You're blinded by cameras, which are massive, that you don't even realize are there on a stage set up behind you. And then it's like, what do I actually look at here? Do I look ahead? Do I look down? Do I look like I can't see
for
you?
The microphone was like in your forehead when I saw this.
It don't matter. It was all good.
All right, so let's give you your props. This is our friend Scott, dude. I'm telling you what, I have been podcasting since 2005. The Bang Radio Hour ran 15 years. I had many fans go to games, go to Hall of Fame, go to this, go to that, and all I ever wanted them to do was hold up a sign that says Bang Radio Hour. And finally, my man Scott came all the way over from the Royal Port of Barrow to shout out the Bleeding Burgundy podcast in front of the whole fucking world. Way to go. our man. He is the guy, and I got to tell you, I'll always have this.
Washington Commanders selection. Please welcome International Fan of the Year nominee from the UK, Scott Oakley.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. First, I'd like to thank the Commanders organisation for allowing me to do this. Secondly, and no means secondly, I'd like to thank my wife, Karen. I love you. I'd also like to say hello to my children, Joshua and Holly, who are at home watching in England. Also, shout out to the 1 Point Safety Show and the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Go and subscribe, real fans talking ball. Now, with all that being said, with the 205th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Kane Petrano, linebacker, UCLA. Raise hell, everyone! Also, shout out to the 1 Point Safety Show and the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Go and subscribe, real fans talking ball.
There you go. Oh, hey, what's going on? Hey, I don't know. It's our good friend Keith Ray.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
It's the head of the Eagles fan ambassadors. Hello, mate.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a long time, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking miss you guys.
Hey, of course.
We miss you too.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, once your boss figures out that I'm okay, I'm not going to get you fired. You're all right. You're not trying to suck up to Jason anymore. We're okay. We're good to go. So I hear you got a new job. You're a fan ambassador of the Eagles?
I do. Head of Eagles fan ambassadors, apparently.
There you go. I tell you what. All right, so we've been talking about all kinds of different shit. And we were just talking about Shedeur Sanders and the stupid prank call. Josh Connerly got one too. By the way, speaking of Josh Connerly, have you all done the Josh Connerly challenge yet?
Not yet. My knees won't do that.
All right, well, I did it. If I did it, y'all can do it, for fuck's sake. And I couldn't do it. I really decided I was just going to Photoshop his legs onto my body and make it look like I could do it. So join us, Keith. We're going to dive into the picks, man. We haven't even started talking about the picks. We've been talking about Scott.
Before you dive into the picks, let me get in on this Shedeur Sanders prank
Bring it
call,
on.
if you don't mind. You know what? I put a tweet out there the other day.
Yep.
I'm going to be quite honest. If anybody thinks that I even give a fuck about a prank call, or if someone thinks that I should show empathy to a kid, that yes, it's a shitty thing to do, not something that I would do on this kid's big moment, right? And somehow, it was reported that it was an Atlanta assistant coach's kid who got the number that did this, correct?
Right. Yep. And it wasn't his big day. It was the day before his big day.
The day before his big day.
That's right. The kid called
it. So that makes this even worse because I'm not even as active in the news so much, but I had seen so many things about it. And let me just say this, right? Forget what I said. Who cares about my opinion, right? But at the end of the day, man, people on Twitter are seriously acting like that this shit was the end of the world for this kid. When
he got drafted to the Browns. That might be the end of the world for him.
Right. That might be the end of the world for him, for sure.
Right.
This constant sense of caping for a guy who's never going to see your tweets, but yet you get on there, you give an opinion, and you feel oh so sorry for someone is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, fucking ridiculous. Fucking stupid. It just blows my mind at how many people came after me because I didn't show empathy over a fucking prank call.
It's
right?
Despicable.
End of the day, this kid's going to make more money than all of us combined in 1 year if he hasn't already. So let's not get on Twitter and overreact even though I know that's asking a tall situation here, but let's not overreact as if this kid's going to be traumatized for the rest of his life, or getting called the day before and getting pranked about, being drafted is going to be the end of the world for this kid. Like, this is part of the reasons why I don't even get on fucking Twitter anymore, dude. The fake outrage and emotions and everyone linking race into it. And why can't it just be a fucking prank call for a kid who has not been humble? He's not been humble. This is the kind of shit that happens to people like him.
It happened to Josh Connerly too. It's just what people do.
It's what people do. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that it's something I would do. But when your life is a fucking circus and you invite the circus clowns with you, then circus shit is going to happen. So let's not act surprised about this. It's just
I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I went to the circus and they put somebody in the center ring that made a prank call. I thought, I want my fucking money back. This is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. The long and the short of it is the 20-year-old kid made a stupid decision, like 20-year-old kids fucking do all the time. We've made dumb decisions when we were fucking younger. It was immature. It was dumb. Fucking over with now.
It's well over.
Ruined.
No, it was. I mean, it's not like something that you should do anything. Even make him. What are you gonna flog him? Who cares? Fucking get over it. It's a stupid prank, And the main thing is this coach can be trusted with the.
Does anybody remember the Jerky Boys?
Yes, they made a whole fucking career.
Yeah,
in about 5 years. Nice
so, career. I mean, yeah, man, this was fucking nothing. I think
right, and look, I've insulted an entire country today.
Hi, I'm Hugo, live from Madrid, where the Dolphins will play the first ever NFL game in Spain this season at Santiago Bernabeu Stadium.
I gotta tell you.
Well, that might be us. We might be playing them in Santiago Bernabeu.
Look, that helmet is going to drown that fucking dolphin. That's right on his blowhole. That is the dumbest costume I've ever seen.
Well, I'm going to, in conclusion, on my topic that I
give me your in conclusion. Here's
my conclude. Look, the same people that got a problem with all this and acting all sensitive and and showing empathy and acting like they care. These are the same fucking people that sit on Twitter and take a shit on football players for not catching a football. So please, all of you who listen to this, fucking spare me with your empathetic views about Shedeur Sanders. Move on. You'll be fine. Right. He'll be good. Life is great.
Yeah. I'm just glad that you had this.
Fucking hypocrites, all of them. I'm sorry. This is a family show.
No, we've been sponsored by the Carnivore Meat Company. I don't know if you knew that.
Congratulations on announcing that draft pick, man.
Nah, that's cool, man.
There's not a lot in life that makes me jealous, but that's something I've never done. So I'm jealous of you, man. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you
play it again, John.
Washington Commanders selection. Please welcome International Fan of the Year nominee from the UK, Scott Hartley.
Now, this is what I like. Scott's face is entirely covered by those microphones. They're like up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when he goes, and secondly, I thought he was going to say, "Fuck the Philadelphia Eagles." I really thought he was going to.
Washington Commanders selection. Please welcome International Fan of the Year nominee from the UK, Scott Hartley.
Hello, Green Bay. Thank you for having me here. First, I'd like to thank the Commanders organization for allowing me to do this. Secondly, and no means secondly, I'd like to thank my wife, Karen. I love you. I'd also like to say hello to my children, Joshua and Holly, who are at home watching in England. Also, shout out to the 1 Point Safety Show and the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Go and subscribe, real fans talking ball. Now, with all that being said, with the 205th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Kane Petrano, linebacker, UCLA. Raise hell, everyone!
I love the raise hail at the end because I don't think anybody else in the place understood it. So telling everybody to raise hail. Roger Goodell
Scott
was
did more for the Bleeding Burgundy podcast than I ever did.
The world. Yeah, 220,000 people in the crowd were like, "What's he talking about? This idiot! This guy looks like he's a chromosome short of a picnic." I was one of the Make-A-Wish kids they brought out.
That's true. That's true. I mean, honestly, I think Andy said it. Every picture you took this weekend, you look like a special little fellow.
Oh my God, this was the funniest thing, and Monica will tell you, and so will Joe and others who are obviously in that inner circle. There was a meme going around, and you were taking the piss because obviously the first video that came on the TV, I had my tongue out, and it stopped at the moment of my tongue, right? Yeah. So now, then it went viral, and people started calling it #TheTongue. And then I had like 3 or 4 people come up to me in a circle and say, "Can I have a picture with the tongue?" So I have to do this. So
the tongue,
the tongue, #TheTongue.
There was one picture of you in who is it? Shit, the KJ. It looks like you're fucking eating the ear of this fucking. Of the fucking hog farmer helmet.
I love Scouse's moment in the sun there while Scott was upstage doing nothing, wasting time because we picked somebody that wasn't even there. He was just hanging around backstage eating the kiwi.
It was cool though. It was cool.
Yeah, I'll bet. Scott was the guy hanging in the corner. Hi, how you doing? How you doing?
Come.
Dallas got my fucking seat, asshole.
Yeah, he did. Well, here, this is what he did with it.
Washington Commanders select Josh Carnerly, Jr., tackle, Oregon.
Do we like him? We like him. Yeah.
Josh Carnerly, Jr., tackle, Oregon.
Do we like him? We like him.
Can you add a "Hey you guys" on that one?
I could.
Yeah, Scott. So now that you know how the draft works,
oh my God,
how many times did you fake cheer and not know who we were drafting, but you were cheering like you fucking knew who they were?
Well, to be honest, I actually knew pretty much all of the picks apart from the last 2. Yeah, because I do my research, Keith. Come on, son.
Yeah,
but no, you're right. It's completely fake, and it's like North Korea. You must now laugh instantly. You must celebrate. Yay!
Oh yeah.
No idea what's going on. Absolutely wild. And then the cameraman's like, keep going.
Yeah.
Like, Can you just fuck off so I can have a seat, please? Yeah.
I told the cameraman last year, I said, I don't have that much fake in me, dude. Like honestly. I can only fake smile and cheer as if I know who they drafted because I do not do my research. I don't have enough time in my day to do that. But yeah, good times.
Now that you're the fan ambassador, heading up
obviously.
Well, yeah, I've moved on to the Eagles now. I got a big job opportunity, so
on day 3, it's like a free for all, and they just like use seat fills all the time. So if you go to the toilet, like there's a seat fill in your seat when by the time you come back, it's wild, and it's like okay. And they had all sorts. They're Green Bay fans in our section. There are people everywhere, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? They're just randoms, just sitting around because you guys obviously just do the first 2 days, which is great. But you think to yourself, hang on a minute, this enforced fake laughing. I mean, if you'd have seen us on day 3, I was hanging. I was just like, nah, this is too much now. I'm done. So, and I think everybody was kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, that's why I only do 2 days because by the time you get to Saturday, it's not as packed. There's just not a whole lot going on. And by then, I don't even know who half the fucking guys are being.
Yeah, true. But funny enough, though, that was the busier day. It was 205,000 people on the first night. And then on the last night, it was 225,000.
Yeah. Did you do any of the things I recommended? Like, I really wanted you to just go knock on doors and try to get Scouts to talk to the people in Green Bay.
I've got to be honest with you, they were the loveliest people I've ever met, even to the point of you go back through the airport, which is apparently an international airport. It's about as big as my house. And it's like, it's so small. I'll just get your bags for you, sir. All right. Okay. Thanks. And then he took them away, and security is one bloke working on security. This is quite, that's Gerald. He's been here 45 years. Oh, okay. And they had pies out and everything, like, like pecan pie or chocolates and all sorts of stuff, just free of charge.
You're supposed to throw them. Dude, you didn't throw them at each other? That's what you're supposed to do.
Come on. They were giving them away for, like, here, eat this before you go through, sort of thing. And we're just saying,
they know you're going on an international flight.
Yeah.
They
just
fill it with
grateful.
Laxative.
Just grateful that we were there, really, because they were like, the amount of money that it's brought to the economy and the town of Green Bay is wild. I mean, when you're speaking to people locally, like Uber driver was saying, his boss owned a car mechanic. He's a mechanic, and he owned a mechanic shop. And the NFL wrote to him 4 months ago and said, "Look, we need your shop for the week. How much do you earn in a month?" And he said, "Oh, well, this is what I earn for a month." They then trebled that and then paid him £300,000 on top and said, "There you go." And so all the boys who worked for him in the mechanic shop got free draft tickets and an extra like $500 in their pay packet.
What they do with the
they were happy. They built a stage on it. They built a stage on it.
Oh, okay.
It was mental. And people were charging like $100 a parking spot on the drive. It was mad because it's the smallest place you'll ever see.
It's 110,000 people in the population, from what I understand, and there was 205,000 people there
on the first night. Yeah,
and I mean, people go, "Well, that's just double the size." No. Not every single person in Green Bay goes to the draft, right? The
I think that count
is every single person. But holy fuck, man, y'all almost tripled the size of that town, I would say.
It was wild. It was absolutely wild. But
Valiance wants us to get actually onto some shit.
He does, yeah, true.
Weekend. So my thoughts on DC is, whatever. Bill's something cool.
My thoughts are a little bit more in depth and meaningful than that. I
think mine were pretty meaningful. Don't be forward.
He basically said you're trash, John.
If this happens, and this is a big if, I still don't know if it's going to happen. It would be one of the greatest days in Washington football history.
Okay.
Period.
For me, build something nice.
For me, and Jesse, I know why it's a thing for you. It brings you a connection to your dad, correct?
My grandfather, yeah.
Or your grandfather. That's right. I'm sorry. For me, it really doesn't do anything for me because I've never been to a game at RFK. I was too young. Mm-hmm. I'm not from the area, so I don't have the ties to it. But I am happy for the people that have been looking, they're not going to get it through a team name anymore, but they can get a little bit of the history back with the team and find a little bit of closure that way. So I'm happy for the folks that live around the area that can attend the games and relive their, the glory years.
I don't think the glory years really are going to have any. You're not going to see it there. I mean, other than the displays that they'll build, but what they're going to build is something entirely different. And I'm all for it. I think it's going to be great.
Well, no, but it's just because of where it's
the
at.
Site.
Where it's at. Yeah. And listen, we belong in the city. We're named after the city. It's the city's team.
I agree.
And there's really nowhere left in the city to put a stadium but there. So it has to. And I can't get my hopes up too much now because council is not very happy with the DC's council is not very happy with Mayor Bowser right now and the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work to do, and I might be too much to do it in too little time because this has to be a go. They have to break ground next year for it to to open in 2030. It has to. So things have to get decided within like a month. So they don't even, the renderings that you saw today are not what it's going to be, but what it's going to look like at all. So please keep that in mind when you're seeing these pictures of the stadium. They haven't even drawn it up yet. They have not worked out anything. They have to get past the council, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, you can't.
I think they will because money's going to talk. And
Of course it is.
And if you look at the way the organization is going now at this point, I mean, like we're finally hearing nothing but positive news, positive draft news, positive stadium news, positive, quarterback news. Just so much good is happening right now. I don't think that anyone's going to stop this from happening because at the end of the day, it is going to bring jobs. It's going to bring a beautiful stadium. There's going to be a whole new world class of people coming to the games. Unfortunately for me, it's not in my cards. I wouldn't be able to afford it, I don't think, but where I'll be at in my life in that time is going to be all focused on my kid in his first year in college and paying for that. So me personally, I prefer it to stay where it's at because it's super convenient. For me to get to, but God, it's not about me, unfortunately.
It's a 15-minute extra drive, Keith. Come on, now
15-minute extra drive. Hop on the metro, steal wallets, protect yourself, make sure you're not going to get shot. Yeah,
no,
it's not
New Jersey. Shut up, Jesus Christ!
I got Keith. Did you get the survey?
$2.50 for the fucking metro.
Did you get the survey in the mail today?
Yeah, I did.
All the fans are surveying up for it. The only negative I've seen from fans is that the stadium is going to be a dome. I'm cool with a dome, says Valiance.
It's roof. I'm tired of being cold.
They can close it or open it. Right.
People that want an outdoor stadium probably don't go to games in the wintertime.
Well, Buffalo never has a problem. Green Bay always sells out. And the fact of the matter is they want this stadium to be worth more than just 10
Buffalo's
days.
new stadium is going to be a dome.
Right. Well, they
want the majority of them are going to.
They want concerts. They want WrestleManias. They want all of it.
When all these older stadiums, are outside stadiums, and it's time for them to get their new stadiums, sooner or later, all of them are going to have the option of dome/open. So, let's just.
Well, you're going to need it because the air is going to be poisonous, and we're going to have to live under pressurized conditions. Otherwise,
I blame political parties for that.
Yeah.
Well, what you've got to remember here is one thing you've got to remember here is even within 10 years, so we're talking 35 now. If we go to 35, within 10 years, we'll have a Super Bowl at that stadium. That is an absolute cast iron guaranteed.
The next few years, we'll have a couple of our own Super Bowls.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is, if you've got a Super Bowl winning team,
and look,
I'll be 71 in 10 years.
The problem with the council is this:
are you people get off my lawn?
He's right. It does come down to money, but the problem is they only have 4 council members on the side of using taxpayers' funds for this stadium. Now, Josh Harris and company would be paying more than any other owner in the NFL. But see, what's different between DC and another city is DC is its own entity. Other cities and stadiums have city and county money, going towards it. It's just not one. And the council members they don't want one penny going to the stadium. Most of the council members do. They don't want one penny of taxpayer money.
Well,
going to
this. That is a fucking flag that they throw out to idiots. They go, these are billionaires. Well, who's going to build the fucking roads, you idiot? Who's going to get them hooked into goddamn city water? Who's going to do the infrastructure that has all of this shit to do to make the stadium work? Every stadium that gets built, every major project gets built, has tax dollars attached to it for those things. You don't want the fucking billionaires building the roads, do you? You don't want them building the bridges. You do that with the people that are in charge of infrastructure. And
that's exactly what it's earmarked for. That's exactly what it's earmarked for. Car parking lots, energy, connection to water, as you said, all that sort of thing is what they're going to be paying for. Now, my argument back to that would be, okay, if you don't want the stadium to be there, that's totally fine. I understand your perspective.
You're still going to have to put money into whatever you're going to have to put in.
What are you going to do with a rotting stadium that's full of asbestos that needs removing by specialists?
Yeah, it's going to be developed. The land's going to be developed one way or the other. And if you really, Josh, I have a backyard. It's pretty big. All right, I don't mind if you build parking in front of them, in the front yard. I don't mind.
Listen to you brag
So-
about
Yeah,
dog.
Deluxe.
just
Yeah,
asking
there
if
there
they
was
need a place to
Mendelssohn
Tiny
was
house
on
though, Keith.
the Grant and Danny show. He's the leader of the council,
Yeah,
and he even said that they only have four yeses right now.
You send Miss Piggy over.
The another main issue is Bowser has not brought in the council for any of the planning yet. They're upset about that whatsoever. They're coming across. They're saying that she's spending all this money, or saying that she's going to spend all this money without even involving the council members itself at all, and they're up in arms about it.
Well, because I didn't get any.
The budget's 7 weeks behind as well, and she's apparently cutting $600 million, which is going to affect people's jobs. At the same time as saying, "Hey, you go, commanders, here's some money." So with one hand she takes, the other hand she gives, and it's like I understand it from that perspective as to where she's coming from. But what you also have to remember is this stadium is going to be used 260 days a year, and you have concerts, you have everything else over there. Right. You have
that number
employees.
That's not necessarily true, Scotty. That number that was said, it's more like maybe 80 times a year than the 260.
Even still, if it was just football only, it's 10 times a year.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So look, people, this is how it works, man. You want jobs, you want fucking business coming into your city. You need things like this. And practically every downtown stadium project that I can think of has turned into a gold mine for the people that are around.
If they get one Super Bowl, that will treble the amount of money that the council would have to put in. For
the
one
council's
Super
just
Bowl.
complaining because their pockets have been touched. Now, look, one thing that we haven't talked about yet is the actual draft. How do we like the draft? We haven't talked about a single player other than the one that Scott picked in this.
Also, shout out to the 1 Point Safety Show and the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Go and subscribe, real fans talking ball.
Real fans talking ball. Now, I shaved mine. Keith, what about you?
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
You have to. It's just for courtesy's sake. Jesse?
Yeah.
No?
This shit's like 7 inches long, and
it's like wilder than his beard.
All right. So,
for a landscaper, Jesse, you need to get that shit sorted, mate. Honestly.
So our first round pick, Connerly. I like the pick. I think that one of the things to do that I know everybody wanted to talk about edge and this and that, but really, if that's their top player on their board and he's sitting there, we know that Peters is going to take him. I almost said Bruce Allen. Oh my God. We know that Peters is going to take BPA. Protect your best asset. And I think that we went a long way. Our offensive line right now is a strength as opposed to a question last year and an absolute weakness the year before. Jesse, what do you think?
I absolutely love the player. Don't necessarily like the pick. And I think if later on this afternoon, I'll have an article out on bleedingburgundy.com. Everybody can come and take a look. We'll kind of get a little bit more in depth, but the strategy of this draft kind of baffled me just a little bit. It seems like we have spent, through halfway through the season last year and this year, a enormous amount of draft picks on two positions. And it seemed to me, I thought the move was, and Adam Peter said himself, that they had multiple opportunities to trade back and gather more assets. We strengthened the offensive line by bringing Tunsil in and Herberg in, and adding depth as well. I would have liked to seen us turn that first round pick into a second and another third or a fourth and possibly another late round pick. And get one of those edge rushers. The edge rusher was the biggest need, and there was plenty to have. There was a bunch of edge rushers in this draft, even into the middle of the second round. So we could have moved back, 10, 15 spots and still got a good edge rusher. But that's why I sit on the couch and eat Cheez-Its rather than sit in the NFL room and pick players. But I still didn't like this decision, not only to garner more draft picks, but to pick an offensive line, offensive tackle.
I liked it. I liked the pick. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine for what they did. It's a bookend tackle. Now you've got bookend tackles both sides, which is fantastic for me.
Possibly. We don't know where he's going to play yet, though. He might not be able to play right tackle.
He's got to play tackle.
Yeah, right tackle probably most likely is where he's going to stay because Laramie Tunsil's obviously your left tackle starter, without shadow of a doubt. Now, yes, you're right, Jesse, in what you're saying about the edge rushers, and the edge rushers were flying off the board quite quickly. And I looked around and I thought, do you really want someone that's not necessarily elite top tier? Because I was looking and talking to people saying the only one that was left at the time of our kind of pick was Landon Jackson. That's kind of where around we were at. And you're thinking, hang on, what are we doing here? Where are we going? For me, it was positions in need, best player available on their board. And you're right, Mike Green was available, but is he not on their board because of character concerns off the field?
It's possible.
You don't know what's going on.
I tell you, you saw Mark Tyler, who, Jesse's favorite guy. You saw Mark Tyler's post the next day we all saw Mike Green at the Senior Bowl practice making, Connerly look stupid on that one.
Yeah, one play, but did you see the following rep afterwards?
Exactly. After that,
but you got to take these little clips of with a grain of salt because you don't see every single rep. You really, really don't. So I don't put much stock into a one rep you see of some lineman getting blown up, or even vice versa. You know what I mean?
What I did take a lot in was Brian Baldinger's breakdown on him against Abdul Carter. He was exceptional. And I just thought, you know what, this is, and the thing is, do you think it was a pivot move because we knew that the Giants had got better on edge? I mean, Thibodeau, Carter, and then they've got Burns as well. And then you're thinking, right, well, we've got to go against that. And then you've also got to go up against Philly twice a year. That makes us
a run game too. Now, Keith, I'm going to come to you because I know that you have always, historically on the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, known everything about the offensive linemen. And especially the guys that we're going to draft. So what did you think of our first pick?
Well, listen, I've been saying for, the past 2 years that it's a crawl, walk, run process, right? And I think that we've gotten past the crawl stage. And this draft here, we're currently in the walk process. I think picking an offensive tackle on the back end of the first round is good value. I'm not against it at all. I also understand others' point of views of where we're at in need or trading back and picking up more assets. I don't think anybody's wrong in those feelings. I'm just okay with, going offensive line and continuing to do your best to protect the guy who looks like is going to be here for his career. And I was just going to say, and with that being said, that's why I say when we roll into and you start talking about, the second round, clearly that was a position of need as well. So I think that, I'm not going to pretend to sit here and act like I'm a GM and I know who made good decisions and who didn't. But I don't think either decision for the first 2 rounds were bad decisions. And I think that this is the season where we're in the walking process. And I really do believe that we can get into the 2026 draft and that's where we run, right? So if anybody thinks that, can we be Super Bowl contenders? Maybe. Sure, yeah. We showed that we can get to the NFC Championship last season. Will it be harder this season for Jaden Daniels? I'd imagine so. But I also think with the type of quarterback that we have, he's going to be able to overcome many obstacles that we didn't know for sure last season if he could, and he did. So I'm not saying we're hitting Super Bowl in 2026 either, but I am saying we're in the best track that we've been in so many years now. So I'll take it.
I definitely heard you say Super Bowl by 2026. So we're going to go with that. All right, so our second round pick, Trey Amos.
Let me feed off that just for a second. What helps a team get to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl? What do you have to have? Some semblance of
points.
Defense,
yeah.
Defense. Well, it really hurt us last year, and we did some work. Is that defensive line stopping runs? We don't necessarily have a edge setter that it can also be an edge rusher. I just think we missed a prime opportunity right there to help bolster the team in the areas where we have glaring weaknesses. And what I was saying earlier about look at the draft picks, all the draft picks that we gave up for Marshawn Lattimore, and then the draft picks that we gave up for Laramie Tunsil for two different positions, and then we go 1-2. Now, players aside, I love Trey Amos, and I am ecstatic that we got that pick. I really, really am. But if you think about it, it's like, damn, we gave up a shit ton of assets, a really, really, like, what is it, 8-9 draft picks for essentially, two positions. That's kind of a lot in 1 year.
Debo as well.
When you look at what Scott said earlier, all right, you look at the pass rushers around the NFC East. All right, you look at the defensive lines around the NFC East. The tackle makes a ton of sense.
I mean, that's why they went and got Tunsil. Moved Tunsil and then
the other thing about
Coleman to the other side.
When you draft a tackle in the first round, he's your anchor for years, and that's the kind of guy that I see there with Connerly, is that he could potentially be that anchor, that Chris Samuels, that the silverback. What the fuck did he call himself?
And you're absolutely right, and I definitely get it, and I understand the pick in that sense, But I just think we could have waited till next year, to get that anchor. Just
might not
because
have been as good,
just because of the fact that we really needed some help on the defense. I thought this offseason, the general manager Adam Peters did a really good job of moving around, getting Jaden a weapon, and Debo Samuel, and also getting him some more protection in Laramie Tunsil. So I figured the offense, at least would be set, and hey, their focus should have been on defense, in my opinion.
Good, Keith.
Yeah, I was going to say to follow up on that. I mean, I don't disagree with you at all, Jesse. I understand that point of view, and I love the defense, but I think if anything, right, we can't just be satisfied with having guys that we currently had before the draft on the offensive line. We got to take a look at our history. Right. Mm-hmm. And if you take a look back in 2012, 2013, you got to protect the quarterback. And I think that's right there. They were looking to strengthen that offensive line. You take a look at the moves they made in the offseason. They definitely wanted to strengthen the offense. I do agree. The defense basically on a grade level went from an F to a C minus. For this draft. But again, I think that this is a slow process, but a slow process that's going not as slow as we think it is. It's actually going a lot faster than I thought. But I think that you take with what you got this season, right? And you already know the holes that you have. There was no way we were going to be able to fill all the holes and be dominant. But now you go into 2026 and you're shored up a lot of other spots this draft and this free agency. Now you can go and you can add pieces, and you can add them because a lot of these guys are under rookie contracts. They're not due for big contracts. So again, we're going to continue having a pretty much still a young team. And again, I go back to the crawl, walk, run process. I think we can really begin to start running and be real serious about being Super Bowl contenders after next year's draft.
Deluxe, the guy that got most of our sacks last season is gone. So let's keep that in mind. And
we're still at level on.
That was a fluke year for him.
When we fluky or not, it was. Deluxe's point is right. We tied 6, but those. Those sacks came from Dante Fowler Jr. Now we're going to have a guy in a walker and Von Miller or fucking Zadarius Smith. Yeah. They're going to have to wheel him off in a freaking wheelchair at times because he's going to be older than dirt.
We did a lot of work on the defensive line, temporary work in free agency to stop the run. And honestly, with the pick of Trey Amos, we're back to the draft again. Yes, got there. I think that what they did was they shored up the back end to be able to try to stop the pass at that joint rather than try to lay everything on one guy to go get the pass rusher, to go rush the passer and stop the ball there. Maybe it might have been a matter of value, because I do know, listening to Kime this week, that Trey Amos was first round grade for them, and they were shocked that he was still sitting there when he came up, and they couldn't wait to get him.
He's not the only one. I've listened to analysis all for the past couple of days, and everybody's raving about Trey Amos and how they had first round grades. And listen, I like the Trey Amos pick, but I will say this: it doesn't matter how good of a cornerback that you are. If you're going to give the quarterback all day to throw, they're going to find an open receiver.
Well,
I agree.
Once again, I'm going to come back to what Scott said, and then I'm going to let Scott talk, because he's been sitting there doing his Stephen Hawking impression, looking pretty good with it there. But when you look at what he said about Connerly and how we've got these pass rushers in the NFC East, we've got A.J. Brown, we've got Malik Neighbors, we've got Devontae Smith, we've got CeeDee Lamb. We've got cornerbacks that can handle these guys now. That's what we've got. And the other side of that coin is we've also got a cornerback in Marshawn Lattimore, who we know has talent, but has a hard time staying on the field. So,
listen, even if my scenario to trade back,
are we going to the bathroom? Is this one of these
trading back into the second round? That Trey Amos pick would still be there. See, we would still have 61. My point in the matter is, hey, we're just spending a lot of assets and also next year's assets. I mean, we're going to be light next year's draft too. If I think we're going to be missing a second and a fourth next year.
Second and a fifth, I think. Second and a fifth, I think, Jesse.
Are you sure it's a fifth? I thought it was a fourth.
It might be. You might be right. But yeah, going back to that, there's still players out there that are free agency. We've no idea what any of these guys who are coming in. What's Dietrich Wise going to do? We don't know. What was, not Armstrong. Armstrong might get better. You never know. Fowler Jr., it was a one-off season, as John said. He's never produced like that anywhere else. But as you said, Jesse, I am worried looking at it going, well, hang on a minute. We've got, Cleveland Farrell and Armstrong are our current starters. It's worrying. I get that. Yeah. But there are players still out there. I'm not saying, Von Miller or, as a Darius Smith. Yeah. Maybe one of them, will sign. Maybe one of them will sign.
As long as we can stop the run.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Gardeck's still out there from the Cardinals. And I remember watching him with you guys in the stand, and he had a monster game. And I thought, you know what? He's a decent enough pass rusher.
A game. I'd probably
but the thing is, right? You could. Well, okay. Even if you want to Darius Smith, if he can come in on specific, pass rushing downs, and you only have to give him 30% of the work, it'll be okay. And I think, well, why wouldn't you do that? He did okay for the Lions last year. He can set the edge as well.
Deluxe is right.
This is 100% true. Deluxe, he is the biggest asset, and that's why you gave multiple assets to go give a stalwart left tackle to be able to shift the line and protect him a little bit better. Right? And listen, our line wasn't horrible last year. People think our line was really bad last year.
No, it wasn't
trouble in run blocking in the second half of the year. There was injuries that took place, and so that's why they went and got the likes of Herberg and the likes of Laramie Tunsil to not only add depth, but to really, they wanted to move Brandon Coleman over, and just to make sure that Jaden's blind side was protective. But I still feel like you got to spread the wealth, and building the trenches is not only just on the offensive side. That means both too.
Yeah. But if you look at what we had last year, you're now going to say basically your two starting tackles going into the season last year are pretty much going to be your starting guards.
See, everybody talks about Brandon Coleman moving to guard.
Maybe.
I think he will go to left guard.
Swing tackle.
No. He's
only because are left
outside of Laramie Tunsil, nobody can say who's playing where. And Tyler,
he's a good player, but he's played majority of his snaps at center.
Herbig?
So he would be back.
If you can play center, you can play guard.
He is a guard, but he's also, but the majority of his time at Philly, he played center. So I think he could be a set guard. He could be a center, or backup center. And then you get rid of D is horrible.
Yeah, I think Herbert's going to be a guard.
And then maybe you put Herbig in at right guard then to start until Cosme gets fit. And then you look at it and you're saying, well, Wiley's your swing tackle now.
Can he play left tackle? So Wiley's played guard in the NFL in Super Bowl seasons. Of course, he was not active in that Super Bowl.
But what about and then you've still got players like Algretti behind him. You've got Foster Sorrell who's still there.
The fact that we're talking about it's not a patchwork thing anymore.
I do believe Adam Peters when he says the only position that's nailed down on the line is Laramie Tunsil and obviously Biadasz. I am not sold, and nobody should be sold that Connerly Jr. is going to be the right tackle. Nobody should be sold that. From what I'm hearing from an analyst, he might not be ready to start in the beginning of the season. This is a long play.
These are the guys that told us Sanders was going in the first round. These guys.
Exactly. He's still got work to do. He doesn't have very good play strength. He's just a baby. He's only 21 years old. So, but what good thing about that is, once he matures and develops, he's going to be a tackle for a very, very long time. And he certainly could, once Tunsil leaves or retires, because Tunsil is getting a little bit older, he could, he could be the left tackle of the future.
That's the thing. When you draft a left tackle in the first round, you were expecting him to be your anchor for years. That's we talked about this before. They never come available. Good ones never come available. It's very rare, or it's a very weird situation, like with Trent. But they just don't. So, all right, our next pick was the wide receiver from Virginia Tech, Jalen Lane.
Punt returner.
Jesse crying about punt returner.
I was just fucking wrong with it. I'm a Virginia Tech fan. Everybody knows that.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a big. So the problem with that is he just had bad quarterback play. But dude has.
They used him a lot.
They did. Dude has wheels. I think he could develop to be something good. I think I gave him a B+ grade in my article. I think he is going to start off as our punt returner. And he is kind of like a Deebo Samuel light. But he's got blazing speed. He can take the top off. He's quick twitch. And I could totally see Cliff Kingsbury, scheming some stuff up for him.
Oh, I bet Cliff loves him.
Yeah. So I don't hate this pick at all.
When you look at his speed and you think about what we lost with Diami Brown, which was speed, that's all. Right. That's the whole one thing I said about why I wanted to keep him at the time. You can't teach speed. You can teach everything else, but you can't teach speed. So he's got speed. Imagine him with his elusiveness and his ability to maybe not fumble, running those tunnel screens that Diami was running last year. Yeah. And I think it bodes pretty well. I think that Cliff will find lots of ways to use him. What do you think of him, Scott?
I think he's a good player. I didn't get to meet him. No, obviously not. I think he's a good player. I think he will be. He's the go guy. He's the go ball guy, and he's also going to be the punt returner. And if he can get you 400 or 500 yards as wide receiver 4, that's perfectly fine for me. I think he's going to be again. It's kind of wide receiver by committee again, isn't it? So
some people have him penciled in as their slot receiver, and I do not see that happen. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 5, 6 for the first probably 2 years.
I'll do with Crowder. Crowder's gone as far as I'm. He's
I think people are forgetting or wanting to erase Luke McCaffrey, and I am going to tell y'all this: he is going to have a big role in this offense, or a lot bigger role than he did last year.
A big role. You know who likes that? Scouse. He likes it. All right, so that of course brings us to the best pick of the day, and I'm going to play it again because we're not. He's our guy, and this is how an international superstar acts, Keith. Just so you know, this is what they.
Washington Commanders selection. Please welcome International Fan of the Year nominee from the UK, Scott Hartley.
Hello, Green Bay. Thank you for having me here. First, I'd like to thank the Commanders organisation for allowing me to do this. Secondly, and no means secondly, I'd like to thank my wife, Karen. I love you. I'd also like to say hello to my children, Joshua and Holly, who are at home watching in England. Also, shout out to the 1 Point Safety Show and the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Go and subscribe, real fans, talking ball. Now, with all that being said, with the 205th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Kane Petrano, linebacker, UCLA. Raise hell, everyone!
Kane Medrano. So you see, that's how an international superstar behaves when he's associated with this podcast. Just
I guess you guys didn't want my opinion on the third round pick. Is that?
Oh,
is
you
that
disappeared. I didn't know where you were. I mean, usually you'll take us with you when you go in the bathroom, but not this time. So, all right. So, what did you think about the third round pick?
I don't really know. All right, moving on.
Great.
You figured as much.
I love that.
He is. All right. So, Kane Medrano. I'll tell you what. I see him more as a safety. He looks like a safety. Doesn't look like
he's one of those tweeners. This pick kind of you can't tackle. He's not.
No, that's rubbish. He missed tackles. He missed tackles when he can tackle, Jesse. He got 78 tackles last year.
He takes bad angles. He missed tackles. He's not that good. Just because you called his name Scott.
That's bullshit.
And you have his card.
I swear to God. Some of these fans, some fans would if Adam Peters took a kicker in the first round, I swear fans would fucking talk themselves into loving that pick.
You're saying he can't tackle. He got 78 tackles last year. He can tackle. He gets over. You're right in what you're saying. He overcompensates against bigger sides. So against the Ohio States, the Alabamas, who they're playing last year, he looked bad. He did look bad, no doubt about it. But he's the quickest linebacker out of the draft. He's got amazing speed. He's the coverage guy. And who do you want to learn tackling from? Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu? Yes, please. This is not a guy who's going to start straight away. It's going to be a core special teams guy with a lot of speed. He'll be on sub packages. He'll come in. He'll come in and do things. He can rush the passer too. 2 forced fumbles and three sacks last year. That's okay for me. 44 pass deflections.
We'll have to remake with.
No. We're not going to.
This guy's got speed and he can.
He's fast.
He can run.
I don't expect to see him trailing those running backs.
No, I don't either.
He's going to be a he can cover running backs out in the flat. He can get there, and that's the thing that. I mean, we're talking a 6th round pick here, right? Is that what he was?
Yeah, it's a 6th round pick.
You're not expecting too much out of him. I mean, Tom Brady. Fuck that guy. But
he's going to be a special teamer, John. That's exactly where he is, and then he can build himself up from there.
Sure.
So 2 years time, when you've learned from behind Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu, you've got an awesome linebacker who hopefully will have a bit more technique there, who can be coached up. Plus, Ken Norton Jr. was his coach at college, so he's going to know something.
Well, he certainly knows what a massive forehead looks like. But Keith, what do you think about our 5th round pick or 6th round pick?
I don't know.
Okay, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, Keith Gray. And rounding it all out, our final pick of the day was one that I'm really happy about, man, is Ja'Cory Merritt or Cardiff Merritt. What's his? I can't remember his whole name. JCM. That's who he is.
This was probably my favorite pick in the draft.
Yeah,
this kid,
what we want.
He sees the holes very well. He's a one-cut runner. He can make people miss, and he's quick.
4.4 speed. Fuck yeah.
The NCAA assholes really fucked him over last year when he only played one game with Arizona because in eligibility issues. And the problem with that is college teams have about 120 players on their team. It's not like the NFL. And where he was at Louisiana or New Mexico. There was another player with his same number. They shared a number. And they counted that player's games towards his fucking games. Right. And they, did a grievance about it, but the NCAA just put it on the back burner and didn't let him play all fucking season long, which, really fucking sucks for the kid because, he got up to a major power 4 school. The kids can play. I like him. I expect him early to push for snaps.
Absolutely.
MVP of the East West Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what he was. He was he was really, really good. And you think to yourself, do you know what? What was it in 2023? He got 1,700 yards.
Yeah,
I mean,
missing 1 year for no injury for a running back, that's fantastic.
But it's less on the clock as well for him, isn't it?
Yeah,
right. Right. I mean, his body has not taken a full year's worth of pounding.
Yeah.
That every other running back would have taken, and I think that's fantastic. I love the way he moves, and I like the way he cuts. He looks a little different to me, like Eric Dickerson, the way he squares his shoulders.
Seventh round draft picks. It's like a coin flip on whether you make the roster or not. I think this is a roster lock.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to be our
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, let me tell you about this guy. He's the first one on the field, last one off the field. This guy eats footballs for breakfast. Okay, let me tell you. This guy is an absolute workhorse. Okay, you need him to get a couple inches. He's going to get it for you. You need him to get a couple yards. He's going to get that too. His breakaway speed is almost like Flash. Okay, so all these other negative things that people are saying, about him because he's a 7th round pick, just wait and see. This workhorse is going to put in some work and be great for our football team.
That's right. And honestly, I truly don't believe that the round matters for this guy. He's got the talent, and he was not injured.
The thing is, if he'd have came out the year before and he'd have played that eligibility, they reckon he could have gone in the 3rd round.
Yeah, third.
Which you think to yourself, hang on a minute, that's some. You've got Peters has done very well to get him at the bottom of the 7th round.
Mm-hmm. When you figure that Austin Eckler, he'll turn in his 4 games a year, and that gives us somebody that we can use that's hopefully going to stay healthy and stay on the field.
It's a good jersey that as well, Krosky Merritt as well. It's a long name. I think he's known as Bill or something. They were saying.
Yeah, call him Bill.
Call him Bill.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think he's called Bill. Is his nickname?
Is there any story for that? Why do we call him
idea.
Bill?
No idea.
Let's send Miss Piggy over.
Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble.
It's our good luck pig.
The amount of times I heard that over the weekend coming blasting out of stages or bars.
Really?
I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was everywhere.
And you saw the pig every time too, didn't you?
I did in my head, yeah.
All right, boys, we need to wrap this up.
We do. We need to get on out of here. Keith, thanks for stopping on in, man, and thanks for putting up with us for a prank call there. Scotty, the greatest shout out ever in the history of podcasting.
Yes, absolutely.
Our man. I don't know when we'll be back next time, but you can go over to bleedingburgundy.com anytime you want. It's starting to shape up, pardon our dust. We're still building it. Jesse is writing, so, you take it for whatever it is. Scott's going to write. I'm going to write. Deuce is going to write. Keith, you want to write?
Nope.
Keith isn't going to write. Do you want to do any coloring?
Nope.
He'll break spell check.
There you go. No coloring.
Listen, if you just, guys, don't get too big for me, and invite me on your show from time to time, I'll appreciate that because, I'm going to do a lot of research this year. Actually, no, I'm not. So let's just be honest.
That's fine.
That's why I love you.
That's what we bring on. We bring Ken on for that kind of stuff. So, all right. So I don't know when we're going to be back with another podcast. And we are entering the season of nothing happens. I mean, we're going to have mini camp, but does anybody really want to come back and talk about school? I don't know. We might. We'll have, yeah, there you go. We got music to get out on because nothing's going to happen.
It's over.
There you go. All right. And so until then, bleedingburgundy.com. You can write to us at bleedingburgundy, bleedingburgundypodcast@gmail.com. I don't even know what the hell he's doing.
That's my middle finger. That's my Washington fuck you.
Oh. There it is. All right. What was I talking about? bleedingburgundypodcast@gmail.com. You can write to us and we will indeed ignore you. Actually, we will. We'll put you on the show and we'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. And please ask better questions than those international dolts that got in front of the commissioner and asked him about
what kind of sausage you like?
What kind of sausage do you like? I'm from Germany.
I got wings, dickheads. Bye.
All right, see you later, dickhead. See ya. With a haircut like that, he's calling people dickheads. That's funny. All right, then. Until next time, we will see you, and until we see you then. Bye.